Hello everyone, welcome back to the Jam Pack podcast. I believe this is episode number 3. This is my episode this time. I'm Alex.
I am Micky, the Don.
And I'm Joe.
Very nice. But this episode's it's going to be Agree to Disagree.
Ooh.
Kind of a segment where I'll give some questions to Joe and Micky, see what the response is, maybe some follow-up questions if I'm not satisfied. So I'll jump right into it.
Yeah,
Go for it.
So my first question for you is, does the length of a song or album affect the quality of it?
if only you could see my face. I looked at Joe and I knew that Joe was going to send me an absolute devious smile. Because he knows my point on this.
Yeah.
He knows that if he ever makes me listen to a Swans record for this podcast, I'll walk.
That's it. I've listened to Be Kind 4 times. So you think that's 8 hours of my life? I've sat and listened to one album, and that's after 4 times. So I just think when it comes to longer songs, and to be fair, personally, I wouldn't really what would you class as a long song?
6-7 minutes plus.
Yeah, one that extends I'd say 3 minutes beyond regular radio play length songs.
I'm trying to think, because I think for me, I don't really look at a song and start thinking, oh Jesus, it's gonna be a long one until it gets past 10 minutes.
It's usually the 6.5 minute point for me, because I know that since Bohemian Rhapsody, that song dropped. It was a 6-minute track.
Yeah.
It was refused to be played on radio because of how long it was, and that was seen as a very long song.
Yeah.
However, now you get some songs which appear around the 6-minute mark, that just kind of explode. So I don't really think the general public kind of considers 6 minutes as a long kind of time anymore. But once it passes I've never heard a 7-minute song get played on the radio.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But I think for me, longer songs, it depends on what you've got in them. Because a lot of post-rock sort of songs, you just see it's 20 minutes long, and it's just
15 minutes is build up.
Yeah, a lot of it is just a build up, and it's how you do that and how you go about it. I listened to Godspeed You, Black Emperor, and the first track off that is amazing. That's 22 minutes long, and then the next one was just a drag, and that was about the same length. And as well, Bitches Brew, Miles Davis, 2 of the first 2 songs are at least 20 minutes long, and but that fatigues you because there's so much going on, there's so much layering, there's so many instruments to it, it just sort of drowns you out.
I'm gonna say I can't listen to a long song unless it's keeping my attention. Don't give me an atmospheric song that is so long, because I just won't. My head won't follow it. I need to be punched in the face if I'm listening to that. I think in terms of long tracks, when it comes to black stoner metal and stuff like that, that I'm fine with, because I know at some point throughout the track I will be getting gifted a musical blowout of my ears. And then with jazz, that kind of stuff, that holds my attention more, because the instruments being used are some of my favorite instruments of all time, a mute trumpet, saxophone, the drums and stuff like that. That holds my attention. But if it's a progressive rock song or a post-rock song, and it's using meat and potatoes, guitar and stuff, and they're trying to be out there and atmospheric with it, I just can't listen to it. As good as it could be, my head just doesn't follow.
Well, do you think an album or song can be too short?
Yes, example of that being the Num Num Juice single dropped by Schoolboy Q, because that song was so good, and then it was a 10-second fade out and bit of silence, and it was already less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, and
I wanted that song to last so much longer.
That's got so much energy, but again, I think it's how you fill it, because you just get albums the one that I made you guys listen to, the Andrew Jackson Jihad album, which was just so dense, and for it's 25 minutes long, and the amount of stuff that he says and the amount of stuff he goes on about, to say that it's a 25, there's at least 10 songs on that album. So, and then as well, Earl Sweatshirt.
Yeah.
some rap songs. Like I think there's maybe like 2 songs that are longer than 2 minutes.
What about a non-specific album? So just, can an artist make an album too short?
Ooh.
Is there a minimum length for an album?
Because I think I've read this. An album's supposed to be at least 5 tracks, at least 25 minutes long. So it's how you, I don't know.
I think it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because nowadays you've got either mixtapes, like EPs that they are EPs, they're not fully fleshed tracks. It's a really short like experience, yet they're being released as full LP albums. And then you get full-length LP albums that are being released as mixtapes as a kind of way to kind of quell the kind of backlash if the album's bad. Or you get them called playlists, and then the album's terrible. I'm looking at you, Drake.
But that's another thing as well. You can make it. I think you can make an album too long, but I think in terms of too short, it just depends. It depends on what people are expecting and like the sort of hype that comes towards an artist, and as well just how happy the artist is with it. Because obviously, if the artist just rushed it, putting loads of songs together, because like the main thing, the one album I think of is just Earl Sweatshirt, like 15 songs, no tracks less than 2. I think then 2 tracks less than 2 minutes, and he pulls through on every one of them.
I think. It depends as well, because sometimes you get a short album if the album leaks, or stuff like that. Like I think there was the Jai Paul recently re-released his original leaks and stuff like that, and it depends, because if it's a rougher bit of work, I'm not really bothered if it's like a shorter album. That
album wasn't ever supposed to be made, was it? No. In terms of the way that it is.
So moving on to the next question. Do you agree that music sounds better at night or when alone?
Yes.
I think so. I think when you're alone, and obviously at night, because I think whenever I listen to it at night, it's just like I'm sat in my bed and I'm like, I don't really want to go to sleep yet, but I want to do something, so I'll just stick songs on. And I think just because it's all dark and you're just sort of listening to music, you just sort of get everything.
I find that if I'm in a situation where there's no one around, like say if I'm at home, like I'm by myself, I've got my earphones in or I've got the speaker blasting, and the songs that are playing slap, I tend to just enjoy it a lot more, because you feel free to do anything.
Yeah.
However, I will form an argument for listening to music with other people, in the sense of if you're with a group of friends and there's a song comes on that you all get hyped for, it's one of the greatest experiences of music. Or like forming a mosh pit.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Do you think there's any genres that are better with a group?
Ooh. I think techno, garage, that sort of thing, that's obviously more suited for a nightclub.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
I do love listening to techno by myself.
I think, the kind of like electronic music production, like kind of albums like your house and your stuff like that, they tend to, I think, work better with more people, because everyone's kind of following that easy flow, and the song's got a catchy refrain to make everyone know the song. So when you've got a group of people all kind of move into that like rhythm, and you've got everybody like saying the little like vocal snippet that sometimes like appears on them and stuff like that, it makes for a much better experience than if you're doing it alone. It's not worse than you bobbing your head and then going like just saying like this random like house song refrain to yourself. It's not really as fun.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. Well, do you think that whether you've listened to it alone or with a group has affected your perception of an album or a song?
I think it would, if I was more sensitive about the music that I liked. Like I've tried many a time to get people that I know to listen to stuff like Danny Brown, and if they've not enjoyed it, it's never really changed my like kind of perception on it. But I will say, if there is a song that I think I get really hyped for, I'm like, this song's gonna get everybody here hyped, like I blast it over the car speakers, I make sure it's really loud, like over the speakers in the house and stuff like that, and I think everyone there is gonna be like, ooh. And it gets a lukewarm reaction at best. I must say that does disappoint me. Like, it does hurt.
I'm trying to think, when I try and get other people to listen to music, obviously I think I know that a good amount of people, like I think a lot of people that we know these days are usually just going for either rap and what's on the charts, or it's like indie and that sort of thing.
Oh dear God.
So I think I just end up trying to find a happy medium when it comes to that. And I'm telling you now, Waste by Brockhampton is just like, I think the majority of people who've listened to that song that I played it for them just gone like, oh, this is amazing. Like, that's a solid one. But I think in terms of like, I think for me, making a song better, watching it live and watching it being performed. Because I remember watching Earl Sweatshirt Part Life, and he just did like a 5-6 track run from some rap song that just went home and banged it out. I was like, oh my God, it was amazing.
I must admit, the kind of experience of seeing something like when I saw Danny Brown live at Part Life, I was at the front of the barriers, and having that many people enjoy listening to him as much as I did, it's a very like humbling experience, because sometimes you feel like when you're listening to something, like you only get to see people like on the internet that enjoy it, but when you're by yourself, you're by yourself. But there is something that is amazing about a massive group of people like coming together to appreciate like the art that someone's made, and everyone's going ham about it. Like, Danny Brown was insane at Part Life, and
Yeah.
Well, do you think the location then of you listening to some music affects it? So, say in bed, in the bath, on the bus, driving.
I think for me, it's more like when there's nothing else going on. So you could count that as like a festival as well. I think when there's nothing else going on and you could just sit there and just concentrate and just get every little part of it and find new things from it, from new listens. So that'll be like if I'm on the bus and I'm just sort of like, I'm just to myself and I'm just like in the music. I think I hear it more then, or when I'm walking, because there's nothing else distracting me.
Yeah. I think when I'm walking, like if I go up onto the moors, like a weirdo I am, or if I'm on the bus, like if I'm on the bus or cycling, definitely cycling. Like when you're cycling and you're listening to music, you find yourself appreciating it a lot more, because sometimes it's far better than just listening to the wind, and it fills that space really nice. And I must say, there are albums that I've not liked initially, and then the first time I've listened to them in a bath, it was a completely changed like experience.
Yeah, because you just take it in more and you're more fixed on it, so it just makes you concentrate on it more. And
Listening to music,
appreciate it more.
Listening to music on the toilet slaps. I'm just putting that out there, boys.
Just before we move on to the next question, I'm going to say cycle safe. Try and have one headphone in, one headphone out. Just a bit of a PSA
That'll just end up flying everywhere though.
I mean, I'm borderline deaf now anyway, so it won't make a difference.
Oh, fair enough. Right, the next question. Is there any music, so genres, artists, songs, that are just outright bad?
Lil Dicky.
Oh no. I love the Earth.
Yeah, could you call someone... could you say someone has bad music taste for like...
the obvious inclusion of Nickelback.
K-pop.
Damn, that's a shout.
Scathing. We're going to get lit up for that one, Alex.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, K-pop fans.
That's a big community, bro.
I love all you K-pop fans. Stay strong out there.
Gangnam Style, bro.
But, my initial, like, violent throat reaction to thinking about this was definitely Lil Dicky. Because I remember there's only one song I have on him, and that's Professional Rapper with Snoop Dogg. And that's just because Snoop Dogg sounds really fucking good on that track. Not his little appearance in Earth. That song needs to get ET'd, like buried in a fucking pit in the middle of Mexico and never to be listened to again. Same with Freaky Friday. Like, that song, I fucking hate it. Like, if DJ plays that at a club and I'm tempted to either chin him or leave.
Well, just because you dislike it, does that mean it's a bad song?
I think
yes.
I think there are certain artists that just have that sort of thing about them, like Nickelback, and I'm pretty sure Lil Dicky has it as well. But I think there will obviously still be people who like it, but I think for me, it's not necessarily like a genre or like a specific artist that comes off as bad. It's just like what they do. Like, I hate the new streaming baiting sort of thing when it comes to albums. Like, Migos wrecked the Second Culture album. Drake's Scorpion was awful. Juice WRLD, the new album, was awful. And Chance the Rapper's Big Day was amazing.
Can we? Oh, amazing! Can we just talk about the Big Day for a second? Just because I've not heard it.
I haven't heard it.
I've all I've had to hear is what people have said about it, and that has outright made me not want to listen to it. Like, that kind of reception to an album lets me know that there's no looking past. It's bad, and I don't have to waste my time listening to an hour plus of Chance saying that he loves his wife.
That's it. I think I would listen to the first track on that album, and I was like, I think some of the bars I was just like, okay, and then just sort of turned it off and did something else. And then I saw Fantano's review, and I was like, all right, okay, because was he wearing a red flannel?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. And I was like, oh right, okay, so I probably won't end up listening to this then. And then I was just like, oh, well, you gave it a 0. Damn.
If you want to laugh, Dead End Hip Hop's review of the Big Day, I watched that the other night, and I was in tears. It's so funny. That album's just that album's become a meme, and I don't even have to listen to it to appreciate it.
That's it. That's one thing that is just universally bad. The Big Day, and I think. Go on.
What do you think constitutes as a bad song? Is it the way it's produced, or the critic reviews?
There's different ways you can go about it, because you could say the mixing, you could say the effort that goes into it. Because I think I can get now why Fantano doesn't really like the whole trap, or like a good amount of the trap scene, and like some songs that go into it, because the lack of effort that they put in. And like, fair enough, like they go in and they freestyle whatever, they get some murder beats, banging beat, and just sort of go hey, and just like the lack of effort that goes into it, and like the fact it's catchy just sort of doesn't make it like a good song.
It's weird for me, because I know I have a big problem of saying that something is outright bad just because it's getting radio play. However, there is a as I've matured, as I've gone through my phases of music, I've kind of found that it's not if something's just pop or on radio that makes it bad. It's if it's bland and people love it. Like, I can find myself now really enjoying like a lot of like pop music, but if the pop music is bland, it has no effort. The singing's not even like good, but it's still like this major like hit. I think that's what makes me pissed off, but I can't say it's bad because a lot of people are liking it, and I think that's the problem that I kind of sometimes fall into.
Yeah, just because you don't like it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad.
I think for me, when it comes to pop music, it's just when I hear Shape of You on the radio every day for a year, I'm just like, you're gonna get fed up with it sometime. And I think that's just, it's like the case with lots of songs. Like Lewis Capaldi, I don't know what the song's called, but I've heard it a lot in the past. Like,
he's got a few and they all sound kind of similar. Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
And it's
he gets a lot of play for such boring music.
I think it's his personality though as well.
Yeah,
his personality is, I think, what has, I don't want to say made his music, because it's really like, it is a kind of a dick thing to say about someone who's obviously put effort into making a song, but at the same time,
it is. Yeah,
it melts my head. It is his personality that like.
Yeah.
Do you think a bad artist could produce a good album, or a bad album could have good tracks on it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of an example though.
I'm trying to think as well. Well, I don't appreciate the Migos, but they do come out with good songs.
Yeah.
However, I can't say that I know that's probably a shot coming from me, but like the thing is, like, I feel like they catch lightning in a bottle way more than most other artists in their kind of lane have. But I think just because they just kind of bring that kind of Atlanta energy to each song. Like you listen to it. Like when I listen to the Migos, I hear the influences that I enjoy. So when they actually try and, but here's the problem: the singles are always hot shit. Yeah. Like the singles are there, and then the rest of the albums,
it's just trying to be that, just constantly. And you just, because I listened to the first Culture album, and then everyone gave it praise, and I was like, yeah, okay, you got T-shirt, you got Bad and Bougie, you got Kelly Price, you got some bangers on there, but all the tracks are trying to be the same thing, and it's hard to create a good album when you're trying to make every track the same. Because I think that's what benefits the album, is when you sort of take it in different ways.
trying to think of a crap artist that has made a good album.
So that might be.
Because it sounds feasible. It sounds really feasible. Like it can happen, but trying to find an example of one.
Because you could say that like some of the trap artists that come out, they don't make good music. But you could say maybe like Lil Xan. Lil Xan did Betrayed.
It's a terrible song.
Betrayed's alright.
Nah, Lil Xan can like actually jump. Like he's never will make a good song or a good album.
That's a pretty bold claim.
I'm putting that out there.
I don't want
that man is so unappreciative of everything around him that I don't think he'll ever make a song that people can appreciate.
I love how when Fantano gave his Total Anarchy and Not Good, he just went, Anthony Fantano, you don't know anything about rap, just stick to your alt rock. And I was just out there like, you said Tupac was boring. How can you say that?
He strikes me as someone who kind of probably got a face tattoo and thought, you know what, I can do it. And made a sad.
He probably got his mum and dad's money.
He made a sad white boy rap song, and then everyone was like, "Whoa,
damn.
it's Lil Xan," because everyone hopped on that Xan meme wave when it comes to like the music as well. He's so engineered to be that kind of flash in the pan artist for his time.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure we are in the days of Lil Xan probably just fucking falling off the face of the earth.
I mean, so to answer your question, I think we can't really find an example.
Yeah, I've been like.
So you think it's possible, but you couldn't think of one that's happened?
I can't give an example.
I have a feeling that there will be an artist out there who's got such a terrible overall catalogue, but they will have that one like album that like pops. We'll have to see. I mean, I know it's tough at the moment. But we'll have to see what Playboi Carti does as he goes on. I'm going to put that out there.
I was going to say Playboi Carti, Dilate, and I was going to say Lil Pump, self-titled.
Yeah, Lil Pump's original self-titled might be a case of that. We'll have to see how they go on because there are only 2 albums in. Like I don't want to.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
That's the problem. I don't think there's anyone with a substantial enough catalogue where we can say that they're bad, but they have one that's good.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. Well, that's the end of the questions and the end of the episode, I believe. So, pass you over to Joe for the plugs.
Okay, so if you guys want to follow us on Instagram, We Jam Packed, or if you want to follow us on Spotify, we've got a couple of playlists going. That's Jam Packed Podcast. So, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, and if you want to hit up me for the plugs, I've got a 10 bag. Send me a message.
Don't want to get demonetized.
Oh.
We'll see you guys later.
Thanks for listening, guys. Tune in next week. See you later.
Cheerio.